Hello, still without a tripod, but my name is Adam and I'm on a quest to become the most prolific reviewer of all time. And to do that, I want to review about 15,000 things: books, movies, podcasts. I've been on a bit of a Betty Davis kick recently, and it started a few weeks ago when I watched All About Eve. So that inspired me to find out more about Betty Davis because I think she is like this actress who was a bit before my time, although I noticed that she was still working when I was a kid. But I didn't really have any realization of who she was until quite recently. And she's one of those people who, I mean, I know the actress's name, but I don't know any of her work because, again, this time period, not very well known to me. So I'm really happy to be able to explore it. Today I'm reviewing a 1942 film called Now Voyager, which stars Betty Davis, Claude Rains, Paul Henreid, and Gladys Cooper as in a delightful performance as an overbearing mom. And this is a film that people consider. So, Betty Davis was nominated, I think, 10 times for the Best Actress Award, and she won twice. So, basically, she was nominated about, I guess, 10 times, 12 times in total, and she won twice, which is a record, actually. She's up there. I think obviously Meryl Streep has way more nominations than Betty Davis does, but like if you think about Meryl Streep is kind of like the Betty Davis of our times. So anyway, she was nominated. Betty Davis was nominated for a Best Actress for this role. Should she have won? Well, let me tell you a little bit of the plot first, and then I'll come back to whether or not she should have won. So the plot is basically there is this one woman named Miss Vale, Charlotte Vale, and her family, like her sister, is really worried about her. So they bring in a psychologist by the name of, I forget what his name is, but he's played by Claude Rains. And Claude Rains does a really admirable job of being somebody who is respectful and witty and also very direct as a psychologist. So they bring in the Claude Rains character to see if she really needs to go to the sanatorium or not. And she does. So she goes to the sanatorium and she makes this like remarkable recovery. And before she's like really plain, she's got these huge eyebrows, and they do a great job of making Betty Davis look uh, dour, I would say. And so she gets into the sanatorium and she's out from under the tyrannical care or influence of her mother. And then she starts to open up a bit and she goes on a cruise because her psychologist says that she needs to, meet new people, get into adventures, learn about life. So on this cruise, she meets a guy played by the played by Paul Henreid, and I can't really check the name because I can't like go back and forth with the number of hands that I have available right now. But I think Durance, this is the character's name, and they get stuck together because there's one free carriage basically. So she kind of tolerates him for the day, and he is like remarkably kind. He's like a gentleman. But one of the first things he says is that he's married and he has 3 kids, or yeah, 2 or 3 kids anyway. And he shows a picture of them, and so they get closer and closer. And this cruise, I guess, is 3 weeks long or something. So on the cruise, some of Durance's friends are on the cruise, and they talk to Miss Duchamp because she has an alias for plot reasons. So they talk to her, and they're like, the marriage isn't very happy and she's a horrible woman and she's stifling all of this stuff. So, I think his name is Paul. Paul and Charlotte get more and more close, and Charlotte tells him about her, and he calls her Camille, and she tells him about the treatment in the sanatorium and how the doctor did wonders for him, and basically because his daughter Tina is suffering kind of in much the same way that Charlotte was suffering when she was growing up because her mom basically didn't want her. And that's the thing, like, the whole theme of the movie is that your mom doesn't want you, and so she's much harder on you than she is on other siblings. And because of this pressure, and because your mom is such a big character in your life, it's going to affect you. So, because of the plot, well, then they go back to their normal lives, and uh, I forgot what the name of Vance, or I don't know, I don't know what Charlotte's last name is, but they're a big Boston family. And so, because she's come out of her shell, she has a lot of interest from men, and one guy who she's known all her life, who was also from another big Boston family, decides that he wants to get with her, and they get engaged. But basically, she breaks it off because she's not in love with him, and this causes more conflict with her mother because there's also because she's still living with her mother and she's trying to be, free, and she's trying to be independent. And finally, they have a huge fight about this, and her mother has a heart attack and dies. So this kind of sends her back into having like I think they say it like a nervous breakdown again. So she goes back to the sanatorium with every intention of having this nervous breakdown, and then she sees that Tina, Durance's child, has been sent to this sanatorium basically on her recommendation. So it's not exactly the biggest coincidence in the world. It's something that could happen, definitely. So, but she's like, okay, Tina's here. I need to show her how she can be better, how she can live better in this weird situation. So basically, the end of the plot is where they decide, like Camille, who is Charlotte, and Durance, they decide that they're going to have like this special area of life together where Tina is going to be treated like Charlotte's daughter and Durance's daughter together, even though Durance is still married. Um, and they have this like wonderful. It's such a scene that you don't see nowadays, because the idea is that, so I think when audiences would have been watching this, they would have seen that Charlotte was making a sacrifice for her man by helping Tina. But in Charlotte's mind, Tina is not a sacrifice. She's like a purpose of life. Like her life is empty and she doesn't have any meaning. And Tina comes along and she's like, yeah, I can be a good figure in this person's life and I can put her on the right path, the right direction, you know. And the Durance's character also sees it like the audience would see it, and he's like, I can't allow you, I'm going to take Tina out of here. I can't allow you to make this some kind of sacrifice. And then Charlotte explains what I was explaining to you, that it's not about making a sacrifice for her man. It's like, I want to do this because it's about something that I want, right? And there is a connection to you, to be sure, and we can have this connection together, but like, this is more important for me and Tina than it is for you, basically. And the last scene is really, really lovely. They do this thing where they're like, you know, that's the most famous part about the movie, is where like they'll light cigarettes together, and it's like supposed to be this really romantic thing. But I think that the really romantic thing is, I think the last line, um, that Betty Davis says, which is, "Why are you asking for the moon when we have the stars?" You know, because they have a situation that is good for them and it works for them. It's a bit unconventional, but it's actually better for every character in the movie. Like, it's better for Charlotte, it's better for Tina, it's better for Durance, it's better for, I forgot what the wife's name is, but it's better for her because she absolutely hates Tina. Um, yeah. Is there anything negative about the movie? I don't think that there's anything negative per se, but it's not a movie. It's a pleasant movie. It's an interesting take on romance, which, as I said, I don't think that we have now much nowadays because generally, usually, children, and this is weird too because nowadays we have much more mixed families than we did in 1942. But the role of children in the love lives of their parents in cinema seems to be like more less and less and less and less. And only if it's like a Christmas movie or a family movie does that come up. Like I think about Love Actually. So I don't think that there is any, and it's weird because there should be a lot more movies like this. Not necessarily with the same conclusion, but about the same kind of topic, but there aren't. So, yeah, I would say maybe, I'm not sure if it's a criticism, it's just something to point out, is that Betty Davis, as I've mentioned in a number of my other reviews, is not like a gorgeous woman. She's a cute woman, she's an attractive woman, and the camera really knows how to make her so. But the dour looking Betty Davis, Charlotte, when she's really feeling the pressure and she's really put upon by her mother. I don't know. I think that's a bit much. It's a bit like, although, and I don't think this is the origin of the trope by any stretch of the imagination, but there's this bit where, you know, she, her mom wants her to wear glasses because she only has, one set of eyes, which is a good point. But Tina wears glasses too. But part of the thing when they're attractive is they're not wearing the glasses. Because glasses, of course, you can't be attractive with glasses. And then it's like, if you're an attractive person, you're attractive with the glasses or without the glasses, unless your glasses are like really ridiculous. But then just get new glasses. And her eyebrows are like caterpillars. And it's weird because I understand the kind of story reasons they do that. Like they're saying like her mom has control over everything in her life, like from the way her face looks, her eyebrows look, to her dress. And her mom is trying to marry her off, so you would think that she would be willing to have her daughter trim her eyebrows. And I don't know, because this is a little bit of a non sequitur, but I think it's really interesting how eyebrow shape and size change over time. And if you look, and it's so quickly actually, like I think it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer was on for about 8 seasons, and you can see the trends in eyebrows if you look at the actresses. Like I think when they started, it's just like a pencil line eyebrow, and then it gets like more bigger, and then it's really weird. But those eyebrows, I think, when she's playing the dour version of Charlotte, are not her natural eyebrows. I think that they put some stuff on them because at the time the eyebrows would have been really thin as well. And personally, I don't like that look. I think that they should be a little bit more there. Like you should know that somebody has eyebrows. Yeah, I can't really say much about my eyebrows. And that's the thing, too. Like, with men, nobody cares what the eyebrows look like, I think. Or at least they didn't used to. Maybe they do now. All right. Should she have won an Oscar for this performance? It's really hard to say because I don't know the other performances of that year. So I don't know. But I think that she does a good job, and it's a really subtle job, which is also hard when acting. But I don't think that this is in her, it's not her best performance. So if you look at something like, if you look at Whatever Happened to Baby Jane or All About Eve, or even a movie like The Petrified Forest that gets forgotten a lot nowadays, her performances, I think, are better in those because she's playing a more interesting characters, right? So, yeah, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that she should have won an Oscar for this performance in 1942? And if you do, well, what do you think is the best Betty Davis performance? Let me know in the comments. So I'm trying to have 200 subscribers by the end of January. I have 164 at the moment on YouTube, and I'm trying to get 15 followers on Spotify. So if you're listening to this on Spotify, please follow the podcast. All right. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.